Okay, so this is on equations of lines, and first one we're going to look at is slope, intercept, spell it right, slope, intercept. It's not intersect, it's intercept, form of a line. Slope intercept form of a line is the y equals mx plus b. Okay, the y equals mx plus b, and two things there. You need to know that the m is the slope and the b is the y-intercept. That's where it crosses the y-axis. Okay. Okay. And we already said on the one of the other sections, the definition of slope is rise over run. Okay, so you may have to figure slope that way. You may also have to figure slope if they give you two ordered pairs. Remember, it's y sub 2 minus y sub 1. That's the difference in the rise, okay, over the difference in the x's, the x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay. Okay, so if they ask you, let's look at an example. Okay, if they say graph the line y equals 2x plus 3. Okay, to graph that, you always graph the b value first. Okay, and we're just going to sketch these on your notebook paper. So you're going to graph the b, the y-intercept. It crosses the y-axis at positive 3. So go up and put a point. Okay, the slope is 2 over 1, rise over run. So go up 2, okay, rise from that point. It's not from the origin, it's from that point. So you go up 2 and then go to the right 1. And you can do that as many times as you need to. You can go up 2 and go to the right 1, okay. You can also go down 2 and to the left 1, okay, until you get your line, okay, and then just sketch on your line, extend it out, and it is a line, so put an arrow on both ends. Okay. If all else fails on graphing, if you get to the test and you go, okay, I don't remember slope-intercept form, I'm stuck, you can always go back to a table of ordered pairs. That will always work. Try, like, if x is 0. If you put 0 in, then y is 3. That would give you this point. If you try 1, okay, put 1 in, y would be 5. That would give you this point. So you can always go back. I would try positives, negatives, okay, and you will still get those ordered pairs and graph your line. Okay. Any questions on that one? Okay, let's try another one. If they say to graph the line y equals a negative 3/4, use a horizontal fraction bar, negative 3/4 x, and then minus 1. Okay, so if we graph that, you always graph the b value first. Okay, so we're going to graph, it's going to cross the y-axis at negative 1. So go down on the y-axis and put a point. Slope, okay, is negative 3/4. You can do either one of these. You can do rise first, or you can do the run first. If I do the rise, this tells me to go down 3. So from that point, go down 3. And then this says to go to the right 4. So you go down 3 and go to the right 4 and plot a point. And you can do that again. You can go down 3 and go to the right 4 and plot a point. Whoops, got to go one more. Sorry. Got to go one more over there. Didn't go enough. Okay. Just do it as close to it as you can, because we're not doing graph paper. So, and if I was doing the left, I would go to the left 4, and then I'd go up 3, and that'd be close. Okay. Okay. So don't let the fraction scare you off. It's just rise over run. count spaces. Okay? Any questions on that one? And remember, we said the other day, anything that tilts in this direction is going to have a negative slope, and that if this is negative, you know you've got to tilt in that direction. If it's positive, you're going to tilt in this direction. Okay? Okay, that's a little bit with graphing and slope-intercept form of a line. Okay, now we're going to look at point-slope form of a line. Okay, point-slope form of a line. Okay, that is this equation. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. And that's called point-slope form of a line. Okay, now they will give you problems like this. In the directions, it will say write an equation in point-slope form of a line whose slope is negative 3/5, and that negative sign can go in the numerator, the denominator, or out front. Okay, that contains the ordered pair negative 10, 8. Write an equation in point-slope form of a line. So they want it in point-slope form, so they want it in this form. Okay. And I always say if they ask you for an equation of a line, you can always start out with that form. You need two things if they want an equation of a line. You need a point and you need a slope. And they've given us both. They've actually told us the slope, so they've given us m. Okay? So write the equation down. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. They've given us the m is negative 3/5. They've given us an ordered pair. This is like your label it. This is your x sub 1, y sub 1. So then sub in, you'd have y minus 8 equals negative 3/5 x minus. Now when you sub in a negative, this is the minus sign in the formula, and then this is the negative 10. Okay, but minus the negative, same thing as plus a positive. So we could go ahead then and change this to plus a positive. Okay, okay so far? Okay, now, that is actually as far as they go. Okay, that is point-slope form of a line. Okay, so that would... Only if they say to graph it. This one didn't. They just want it in that form, so you're done. Okay, if they said to graph this, then I would take it to slope-intercept form and graph it. I would not graph it like that. Okay. 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 Let's look at another one. Say they ask you to write an equation in slope-intercept form. So even right there, you've got to stop and say, okay, what is slope-intercept form? That's the y equals mx plus b. So when they're asking you for this form, they're asking you to get y by itself. Okay? Write an equation in slope-intercept form for a line containing 4, 9 and negative 2, 0. Okay. Okay, so on this one, I would start out in point-slope form of a line. Okay. So y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. We have plenty of points. You need two things for a line. You need a point and you need a slope. What you don't have is the slope, but they give you two ordered pairs. So go back to this formula. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay? So label choose either point and label it x sub 1, y sub 1. Label the other one x sub 2, y sub 2. Okay, so if I labeled it that way, my y sub 2 is 0, my y sub 1 is 9, my x sub 2 is negative 2, and my x sub 1 is 4. So I end up with a negative 9 over a negative 6, and then reduce that. Negative divided by negative is positive, and 3 goes into both of them, so you'd have 3 halves. Okay. Okay, so we have the slope is 3 halves. Okay, and then fill in your same ordered pairs. So y minus, my y sub 1 was 9, and my x sub 1 was 4. Okay. Now, that's actually an equation of a line, but it's in the wrong form. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So you've got to simplify this. Now, there's a method to this. I can get rid of that fraction, okay? Or I could do this. I could add 9 to both sides. You have to decide how you're going to simplify that, okay? Let's do it two different ways. Let's say I just add 9. And then you'll have your choice which way you want to do it. Okay? So if I add 9, then I'd have y equals, okay, 3 halves x minus 4, that quantity, plus 9. That's still not the right form. Okay? You got to get it in the form y equals mx plus b. So you got to multiply this out. Y equals 3 halves x, and 3 halves times 4. Yeah, because you're multiplying like this, you can reduce. So you get minus 6 and then plus 9. So 3 halves x plus 3. Okay? And is that in the form y equals mx plus b? Yes. Okay? Let me show you another way to do the simplifying. Okay? Now let's go back up to this. Take that, put another method over here. And you have to figure out which method. You just need to be able to simplify it to get y by itself. If I take the y minus 9 equals 3 halves x minus 4. Okay. This method will always work. If you take the top number, okay, and multiply it by this, and take the bottom number and multiply it by the left side, it will always work. Because what I'm really doing is I'm saying multiply by 2 on both sides. If I multiply by 2 on both sides, I'm going to have 2 times the quantity y minus 9. If I multiply by 2 on this side, that 2's gone, and I'd have 3 times the quantity x minus 4. Right? So multiply this out. If I multiply this out, I'd have 2y minus 18 equals 3x minus 12. Okay, add the 18 to both sides. All right, and I'd get 2y equals 3x plus 6. Divide by 2. Okay, and I'm at y equals, and that 2 divides into both of them, 3 halves x plus 3. Okay, so the little trick if you have a fraction here is take the top number, okay, times the quantity on the right, and take the bottom number times the quantity on the left. Mr. Smith calls that the Weiner method, but you have to decide which one of those two methods you like better and then simplify it. You just need to get down to the form y equals mx plus b. Now, if they said graph it, let's take it another step. How do you graph that? Okay, you graph the b. You always graph the b value first. Okay, so that tells you it crosses the y-axis at positive 3 and put a point. The slope is 3 over 2, and remember that's rise over the run. So from that point, you're going to go up 3 and go to the right 2. You're going to go up 3 and to the right 2. Okay, until you get a line. Okay? Okay? Everybody okay with that one? Okay. Last form of a line. We've done point slope form, slope intercept form. Now this one is called standard form of a line. Standard form of a line is in this form: AX plus BY. Use uppercase for A and B and C. AX plus BY equals C. It's where they get the X and Y on one side of the equation and C on the other side. And it's where A, B, and C are integers. Okay, then you got to go back and say, okay, what's the set of integers? Integers are 0, 1, 2, 3, dot, 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 -1, -2, -3, dot, dot, dot. Okay? So, can you have a fraction here?
No.
No, they have to be integers. So that means you got to multiply by the denominator and get rid of the denominators. And the last thing, A has to be positive. A is greater than 0. So if I gave you a equation in this form, like if I said 5x plus 7y equals -13, that's in standard form. I don't have any fractions. My A, B, and C are all integers. Okay? And my A value is greater than 0. If I had this answer, that answer would graph the same line, but that would not be considered standard form. Why? Yeah, because of the A. The A value, they want the A value positive. Okay? Okay. Let's look at an example with that one. Say they ask you to write the equation in standard form. So you really have to look at the directions. Are they asking for slope intercept form, point slope form, or standard form? Let's say the one I have up here, the y equals 3/2 x plus 3. Okay? I need to get the x and y on one side, and I need to get rid of that fraction. What can I do right off to get rid of the fraction? Multiply by 2. So multiply this side by 2. When you do that, it's the whole side by 2. Put brackets or parentheses around it. So when we multiply this, we're going to get 2y. When you multiply this, what's left? This is like 2 over 1. What's left? Just 3x. Yep. And multiply this, plus 6. Just like that. Okay. Okay, now you got rid of the fractions. Okay. Now you got to get the x and y on one side. Now, if you subtract the 3x, take the 2y over. So if we take the 2y over, we'd have 3x minus 2y, right? And bring the 6 over. Yep. Now is it in standard form? AX plus BY equals C? Yeah. Okay. If you want to rewrite it, you can. 3x. And if you wanted to write it with the plus and negative, you can. Okay, equals -6. I would take either one of those. Okay, as long as you have no fractions. Okay, the coefficients are integers, and the a value, the number in front of the x, has to be positive. Okay. 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 Now there's two special cases. Is that enough time? That part? Okay. Two special cases. We've already talked about these a little bit when we did slope. Okay. If they ask you to find the equation of the line through, find the equation of the line through -4, 5 and 3, 5. Anytime you look at the ordered pairs and these are the same, the x's are the same or the y's are the same, then you know you're in a special case. Okay, so if we just graph it, if we go -4 and up 5, and if we go 3 to the right and up 5, a little bit off on the line. Should end up with a horizontal line. What's the slope of a horizontal line? 0. Remember, think of the sun on the horizon. 0 slope. So if you get 0 slope, okay, if you think about this, y equals mx plus b, this would be 0, so that term's going to drop out. Where does this line intersect the y-axis? At 5, right? So any horizontal line is always going to be y equals a number, okay? Any horizontal line is a special case. Any horizontal line will always have the equation, or will always be y equals, and it's whatever, if it crossed, if it crossed down here at -2, then that line would be y equals -2. If it crossed up here at +3, that line would be y equals, and you don't have to go through figuring the slope. You already know what it is. Okay. The other case, if it's vertical, the x's are going to be the same, right? So if I gave you 7, 2 and 7, -3, when the x's are the same, then it's going to be x equals a number. There is no slope, so you can't put it into that equation. So it's just going to be x equals whatever that number is. And that's a special case. That's for any vertical line will always be x equals a number. X equals some number. Okay. 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 One more thing. If they give you parallel lines have the same slope. What about perpendicular lines? We talked about that the other day. Perpendicular lines, they are those slopes are negative reciprocals of each other. So if I gave you on a perpendicular line, if I said you one slope was 4/3, what's the one perpendicular to it? -4/3. Yep. If I said one line was 5, what's the one perpendicular to it? -1/5. They always should multiply together to give you -1. Okay? Okay, that's as much as I'm going to go through. I'll give you time on the homework.